Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Mike on there, no. This is Mike, and this is Todd. And I'm good. And Mitch. And Mitch, so do we have a quorum this weekend? Let's see. Well, there's four. That one's it's four. Hey, you have a quorum, we're good. All right, so Todd and Mike are absent. Mitch said he might be on Zoom, but probably not gonna make it. New Hampshire, right?
Is that Mike right there?
He's in Ohio now.
Hey guys, I'm present via Zoom tonight.
Thanks, Mike.
So you're just missing Todd and Mitch, so you have 5 present.
Good to go. All right. I went over the meeting minutes from last week. I didn't have any changes. Don't know if anybody else does.
I don't have a change necessarily, but I do have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the right time to do it, or is there a motion
No motion, just for
to
the.
approve the minutes?
Well, if you wanna ask the question first.
Okay, well, I thought that might be part of the discussion, but if you want me to. I'm looking at the beginning, also present were 2 individuals and members of the public. So are not these 2 individuals members of the public? Do they have some special status?
No.
Well, I don't know why they're listed by name and members of the public.
And other members of the public.
Yeah, just asking for.
Yeah, that is kinda. That's odd to say it that way.
I don't know. If you sign in, they might have signed in and it was written down. I don't know.
Well, it
I
implies that
think
they have,
Zach was here in person.
and I also would add that if you look at the course of the minutes, that these individuals are commenting frequently as if they're members of the council. They're, according to our agenda, public comments come at the end of the meeting.
Noted.
So, I mean, anyone should show up and be participating in the meeting.
Just make a note that also present was Zach Kleptowski, Joe Bartolo, and other members of the public. And then we'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Can I comment on that quickly as well?
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Should be able to make the next couple live. Got to do Zoom tonight, but yeah, I think Ken, you make a good point in terms of fairness. I think it's a solid point. I read it more or less as people who are frequently involved. I didn't read it as any type of preference per se. That could be, user discretion, writer discretion. It's really just our preference. And then the back and forth, I think, is what has made the council kind of an example, kind of a popular entity. So obviously preference, it's actually Eric's preference as the chair to decide how we go about that. But yeah, that's all I have on that topic.
I'd also like to say that I like the back and forth part of it, but maybe the extra notation at the top might come across as weird.
Well, yeah,
If that makes sense.
we'll just note that it was other members of the public.
Yeah.
Well, another point is that when members of the public freely participate in our discussions, that can be very distracting from what we're trying to do.
Yes, and that's noted, and I think that, depending on the crowd and the kind of the flow of the conversation, most recently we've been doing well, but there is a possibility that if we continue in that manner, then it might be perceived that we should always continue in that manner, and that could be a problem. So again, that's noted. I understand that. I think as a group, we can let people know that most of the comments should be taking place after our meeting, and that would make things, move a little much smoother. And it's no hard feelings on anybody, but if it's a topic of discussion that we're having and someone needs to add something, I mean, that kind of, it's been part of the back and forth there that makes the
Well, I might remind folks that as part of the sunshine laws, that the public has a right to attend our meetings. But they are here as observers, not necessarily as participants.
I'd like to also respond that the public does have a right to comment when we have something up for a vote or a motion. The public is absolutely allowed in the Sunshine Act to respond to those things, and it's what we'd like to see is community involvement. So I wanna put that
Well,
out there as
just
well.
keep in mind, I would ask the chair that there is a fine line between what we are charged to do and the level of public participation.
Yes, and on topic comments, I feel like should be okay.
All right.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we've been doing a good job. We're not getting like
Thank
out of
you.
hand. Meetings aren't running for hours and hours and hours. Everybody's been respectful and we're making progress, so. Like I said, it is noted. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. All right. Do you have anything extra special in here this? So the announcements are our upcoming events for the EAC. These are just nailed down dates and times where schedule looks good. I see some extras on here that are noted, but like the Delaware River Festival, did that get buttoned up?
These are sort of the ones that are around here because they're sort of imminent.
They're ready to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I would imagine by your next meeting, we'll probably have a flyer for the Fender Swamp ones. We've been a little hesitant to sort of launch that one, as you can imagine, because it's not March 28th yet, and you wanna try to promote one hike before you start, So other than that, you guys voted to choose Buttermilk Falls Road at your last meeting, so that was formally submitted. Now anyone can go on the Visitors Bureau website and sign up for it.
Great.
So hopefully we get a decent amount of sign up, and obviously that'll be promoted in like the newsletter for March. And so do you guys have any questions on any of that?
No, I mean, my only questions were, you said the flyers are up, so everybody in the group should just start to kind of promote that if they can. If they're all ready to go.
I forgot to grab the stack last
Oh,
time. Do
yeah.
we still have those?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch out there by the.
Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit when I go, because I only had two, and then I had one from here, and
See
then,
me walk out with them.
no, me too. I did the same thing last time. I walked right past them.
I'm new here, so what is that, what's the synopsis
Just
of that?
like flyers, so Alex printed out some flyers for the hikes, but
Yeah, so we can put them up in local areas or businesses or, places that people frequent to promote it.
What is the premise of the hike? What do you,
It's an educational hike for
So-
Mount Nebo.
just explain?
Alex usually does like a nice job of explaining local things that are growing and going on, and he does a very nice job on those hikes.
we had our first one in the snow. So,
Yeah.
it
was still fun,
and it was
though.
great, and it was
Yeah,
great, so we're
we learned a
hoping,
lot of things. It was a great time.
we're hoping to get a nice turnout for the March 28th hike. And again, it's really close, so, and that's a shorter hike too, you said, Alex, right? It's like
Yeah,
an hour.
it's relatively shorter.
Better weather, probably.
Alright,
Are we talking about doing the full loop? It's 3+ miles or a short loop?
the short loop is 3,
No,
the full loop is 2.
full loop, it takes about an hour.
Yeah, it's
And there are
fine.
some steep spots on it, so,
Okay.
and it's likely to be very slippery and muddy.
Right. But,
Yeah.
that should be good, yeah, so we'll just a note to everybody, on the council to promote the March 28th hike, and then. At some point within the next month, we can start, promoting the April hike as well, pick up the Poconos as well. And what else? Any other comments regarding Mike? You good on the on the announcements regarding Thunder Swamp, Pick Up the Poconos, Mount Eagle Park hike?
Yeah, all good. I think encouraging all of our involvement with posting it to our networks is a great idea. So let's do it.
I see a park. Yours.
Mhm. Yep, nice QR code there. So far, I think we've only had 2 people sign up.
Okay,
But the parking there can handle, I would say, at least 20 cars.
probably, yeah.
Is
So
this for the QR code here is for the April pickup?
I think that's just a draft.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were pointing
I
at.
was pointing out the games.
That's another QR code, yeah, not to be confused with one another. Yep, that's just a draft idea that you guys will discuss at the end of the meeting.
Great. I don't think that there's anything else, for those, that's pretty simple, so. We can move to old business if there are no objections. Good, okay.
Can I just add one last thing, Eric?
Sure.
I think we should basically, we've said this in other meetings, we should more or less have the company line or the group line be that, these hikes and all outreach events are to promote education, community, culture. That's been in the meeting minutes at least a couple times. Credit to Alex. And then, just having a unified message. What's the purpose? Well, we're an educational advisory group and we're trying to build educational and community opportunities for the township.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point, Mike. If we want to kind of come up with or steal from somewhere else. We'll call it like the official language for any social media posts. Does that sound about right? Yeah, so that we can just copy and paste it or something, and then maybe we can email that out, and then then we don't have to do any guesswork. That's a good point, Mike, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Template, making a template for the sharing is basically the goal, the idea. So well done.
Yeah, but you end up having 10 different people writing 10 different things and kind of, somewhat, yeah, just much easier to have some copy. And paste material that we can send out to the public. That's good.
I just shared the event. I didn't put any words on it. Cause I didn't know.
I also spend too much time like wordsmithing and it's not necessary.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move to old business, an update on the Manuel Mink wastewater treatment plant permit. Do you have an update?
I mean, the letter did get sent out. I included you and Mitch and Julia on it, I believe, so everyone saw it. It went out within the deadline. The DEP sent back an automated response basically saying how they received it, but they didn't reply and say, we granted you a hearing.
Sure.
They basically just said comment received.
Yeah, and that's what we discussed anyway, right? That they would probably do that and it might take some time before we got the response.
Yeah, it'll definitely take some time.
At some point, maybe we should be, discussing that, working group for that as well.
Yeah, I mean, typically when they announce it, you have 30 days to plan. I would probably hope that they give you a little more lead time. But the DEP, when it has public comment, public hearings, it's 30 days is typically all they give you.
Well, maybe.
But I do think that at minimum, when that's published, it would be a good idea for this group to sort of get together and sort of plan your recommendation to the supervisors, because it's gonna have to go through a couple of steps. You guys are gonna have to meet, and then you'll have to submit your recommendation to the board, then it has to come back here, and then you actually go to the hearing. So it does have to be done in a timely fashion.
Yeah, and we were talking about potentially November or something. Potentially.
I mean, hopefully it won't take that long. I would expect some sort of response within 9 months.
Okay.
So, by the end of the year, you'll know probably one way or the other if they'll be hearing. I can't imagine there wouldn't be, because I heard, in the grapevine, a number of organizations like Triad Unlimited submitted a request for a hearing as well. But that being said, it's, the DEP and they kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's March before we pull it all together and then, we kind of get worked into the summer workshops and all the other stuff, it's probably better to do it now and, figure out who's gonna be on the group and then, decide a month that we meet, maybe.
Well, you have to try to get permission to submit a right to know request to get the permit materials. at least, and that can be a bit of a, you know, an undertaking, so. Just something to think about.
No, I
Unless
mean,
you wanna
I'm
maybe
saying,
just put a more generic testimony together.
I'm just saying that there's, potentially 7 months, remaining of something that could require. A couple
Lots.
months
Yeah.
to pull together, so. If we can set a deadline for deciding a subcommittee for that, or.
It's up to you guys, you know, I'm happy to help organize the subcommittees and sort of, you know, talk to the township and see if we can get information,
Yeah.
and like I said, you're gonna need to get. The permit materials and that means it's gonna have to be a formal right to know request submission, which is. A little bit of an undertaking.
Sure.
And it's not something you guys can submit without the supervisor's blessing either.
Well, it seems like I said, I mean, we have, best case scenario, 7, 8 months to get this all
Yeah.
together, and that's, best case scenario, 14 meetings.
So you're saying basically there's just a lot of red tape to wade through here, right?
It's just time,
Yeah.
so,
Well,
yeah,
if
lead
you,
Yeah, I mean.
if you try to
started on
let
the right
you
to
know
knows.
with the state, it's pretty frustrating.
well, the best thing that we
If
can
we
do is
started
start
it
early.
now, yeah.
I'm just
or
saying, you
soon.
just have to be very patient in my experience.
Well, we're gonna have, hopefully, everybody back next week. Or 2 weeks from now, everybody will be here, so maybe we can throw that on the agenda to try to organize a subcommittee and get that moving.
Well, a subcommittee would probably be a good way to keep it moving, and we gotta keep it moving, but someone who's going to take the reins and keep it moving.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good. Updates to the environmentally sensitive areas map, we have a copy of the map here.
Yeah, that was a request you had. at the
How'd
last
that go?
So you updated the creek names on here? Is that what the update is?
No, there was the updates, to the areas themselves, there was additions, correct?
Okay.
This was primarily, it says update there just because you would ask for it. Typically the township, when they put agenda items on an agenda, they give you like some sort of context for what you guys are gonna do, like, is it to discuss it? Sure. Is it just an update?
Mhm.
In this case, I was just giving you a copy of the map for those of you who may have forgotten.
Oh, okay,
You see
that's
what
what
I'm
I couldn't figure out, what was the update? I
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the environmentally sensitive areas map was because it demonstrates I think visually, how the township is sort of interspersed with lots of streams and wetlands and steep slopes, and how it is just, because it's in the headwaters of the Delaware Basin, it is just kind of, the whole township's kind of environmentally sensitive, and there's not a lot of areas that are white, and those are sort of the areas that aren't, don't check any of the resource constraint boxes. And so, it's something worth considering that, just because you're in the Poconos, you just have natural constraints because you're on a mountain. I mean, it's just, and sometimes those constraints interact with development, interact with roads, interact with things the other things that townships do. And it's good to take those resources into consideration when you're looking at development, when you're looking at building and things like that, because oftentimes, because you're in a mountain, they're going to inevitably interact with one another. And it's just a great visual to kind of demonstrate. I keep pointing to it over there because I didn't print a copy out myself, but we have it sort of in the back there. That's kind of the context, yeah.
No, that's great. Is there a map that we can overlay this with, that we can, pinpoint specific areas, or? Cause it's kind of hard even on when I zoom in to pinpoint exactly what is where. I mean, I feel like this is kind of where we are, but that's like a guess.
So you mean in terms of like?
Yeah, in terms of like
Well, this is.
wetland areas, neighborhood areas.
Well, this is just basically natural resources, and that's it, except for the roads, and doesn't even include all the.
No, that's what I'm saying, cause I can't really see exactly where the wetlands fall. I mean, I can guess. It's obviously, some of it's kind of obvious to guess, but it's hard to.
In a way, it's like, kind
Oh,
of compared
okay.
to the zoning map, because they're basically the same thing.
Okay, so if you kind of overlay it with the zoning map,
That's the easiest way to get, I think it's a great suggestion Katie's making. But basically, you could try to kind of just eyeball it. We
that's
couldn't,
what I've been doing, but it's kind
we couldn't do it in-house. We'd have to ask the county. And
of,
then
okay,
when this was first put together, I'm not saying it's impossible. It would just take
a lot.
a bit of an undertaking. But it's a good exercise to sort of, compare where the resources are compared to how things are zoned, because if you have, ED zone with a bunch of steep slopes and wetlands, then is it really gonna be economic development, or is it just gonna be a steep slopes of wetlands forever, you know what I'm saying? So these are really good questions to ask when you look at a township and a zoning map.
Exactly.
Well, any overlay that you put over that natural resources map is gonna show you what human-made stuff has done. We're talking
Well,
about.
that's what
Yeah.
the thing I'm trying to see is like exactly what
And
areas.
the trouble with that is then the map obscures the natural resources that we're looking at. The map gets very, very crowded.
I know, but just because, these are environmentally sensitive areas, it might be good to notify people exactly the area that we're looking at.
Like if their house is on it.
Yeah, if their house is on it or.
Right, I mean, just
That's
can't,
what I'm
it's very difficult to look at everything at the same time, all at once. That's all.
Understood.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so-
It's ultimately a resource that the township was provided. It was intended to be presented at the same time as the zoning map. So when the planning commission and other bodies and supervisors discussed, like zoning changes or projects in certain zones versus other zones, they can look at the environmentally sensitive areas map and be like, well, why would we change this to ED if it's a bunch of steep slopes? But those are the sorts of conversations that might occur, or I don't know if that helps kind of give you a little bit of context as to the thought process in here, but because you're in the Poconos, because you're in the mountains, you're going to naturally interact more than you would in like the Lehigh Valley or elsewhere in the Commonwealth with natural resources. There's some townships that may not have even, a quarter of this many hydric soils and wetlands. And so they just simply don't have these sorts of resource constraints. It is just something to keep in the back of your minds. Your township probably has more steep slopes than many others in the entire county.
Yeah, more steep slopes,
Yeah.
more fresh water, yeah, I mean, everything converges here, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you look at all that red on the map, that's all steep slopes. So it's quite a substantial, red and yellow, I believe, all steep slopes. It's quite a large percentage of your entire township.
And those steep slopes retard development, and that I think is a good thing for us.
Yes.
Yeah, they retard development, so to speak, for a couple of reasons. First of all, the developer has to deal with the steep slopes, and it's important to remember that the supervisors control steep slopes, not the DEP. A lot of people don't know that. So each individual municipality is the one who's responsible for regulating what happens in steep slope areas.
Right.
Right, and then, in an area where you have steep slopes, you're inevitably gonna have poor soil as well, and that deals with stormwater management.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so if you have an area with, maybe they don't have 25% steep slopes, but they're like, 15%, there's a pretty good chance those soils are not gonna infiltrate well, so it's gonna be tough to build there anyway.
Yeah, or log, but
Yeah.
that's where it happens, those are the last old growth, big forests are the ones on the hills.
That's true, yeah.
Like behind Minnesink and all up there. Which is a shame, but, all right, good.
Yeah, I mean,
This is,
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure what you're gonna do with this information, but it was ultimately designed to kind of be here in the meeting room for
That's
board
good to-
supervisor
good to
planning
know.
commission meetings.
we can refer to it as the rest of many topics come up, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good example of if there's a big project that comes up, you can always reference this if you're gonna make a, recommendation to the board and say, hey, according to our, environmentally sensitive areas map. This project has hydric soils and steep slopes, you might wanna look at that before, that was the intent.
Understood. Well, thank you, for that update. Does anybody have any questions regarding the map? Or move on? Move into new business, discuss the water quality educational handout. Well, that's from the. Voting.
Yeah, this one. This one's a little bit of a, potential, rabbit hole, because at one of your previous meetings, you guys have wanted to discuss the possibility of handing something out at your events to sort of educate. And coincidentally, the township's engineer recently provided a handout on MS4. And so what I did is I kind of took that template and I removed a lot of the MS4 stuff, because the like going to probably struggle with the MS4 in terms of like, might distract them, or might end up just going immediately into the trash if they see that acronym on the front. So I thought it might be an opportunity for this group to maybe form a subcommittee and form like an EAC handout. And there's still some, I know Katie and I had, a phone call about this, and Katie, you're certainly welcome to talk about that if you'd like, but basically MS4 is something that the EAC can help with in terms of public education outreach and public participation involvement. So that's why this was provided to me, because I thought it'd be a good tool to get to the EAC, and you guys can make it your own, you know what I mean? Or you can get rid of MS4 completely, but I thought it'd be a cool project for you guys to work on together. And the MS4 is complicated, the permitting is complicated, and I know Katie and I had a really good discussion on it, and I don't want to speak for Katie, but motivation is that if this group wants to talk about MS4 separate from this pamphlet, you might want to just have an agenda item where you just talk about MS4 and try to, so everyone can understand like the permit cycles and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it is a kind of,
Yeah.
Right.
Can I miss something here? MS4, what does that stand for again?
Oh, I was off my good.
separate stormwater sewer systems. Separate stormwater and sewer systems, so when you have the separation of the sewer and stormwater. That's why I really don't want this conversation, but you guys can have whatever conversation you want, but my recommendation is if you want to talk about MS4 again. You have a standalone agenda item at one of your future meetings, separate from the pamphlet.
Right.
My intent by asking you guys to have this, I gave this agenda to Mitch and Eric. The intent was so that you guys can sort of say, yes, we'd like an EAC pamphlet that we can hand out.
Yeah.
And then, if you're okay with this idea, then we'll sort of, if you want to give me something like you would like to include on here, what I could do is I could maybe put some of that together and submit a draft for you to consider at future meetings.
Well, I think this goes back to a couple of things that we talked about, which was, one was the stormwater management, like where water goes when it goes down the drain on Main Street type of a thing. That was the one that we talked about, because a lot of people think that it doesn't go into the river, and it does, untreated. About, we talked about the Sambo Creek, and we talked about the construction and what was wrong, what was directly affecting the streams in our township, and how we could talk with people a little bit more about rainwater mitigation in their homes, and that was a whole separate thing. And then we talked just about the goal of the committee or our council, protecting, the streams and the waterways in the township. So maybe kind of getting together, like, this is why we're here. These are some of the things that we could focus on and make a difference on, and this is how you can help as a resident. So I don't know. I think that's what we were, as far as something to hand out. So when we meet people, we say that we are the EIC. This is what we care about. And these are some of the problems in our township right now, and this is how you can help, type of a thing. That was where we were leaning towards before, but go ahead, anybody can chime in.
I would like to just say that, my only problem with the MS4 is that, does the township now have a plan for the complaints of illicit discharge detection? Because in my opinion, I understand that, that's my concern with the
But we're not,
MS4 on the
this
handout.
particular topic though, right now is we're just talking about what we wanna hand out to people as the EAC.
Yeah,
What
but
we
this
want.
is what's on it, is
No, no,
the MS
We're
four.
not gonna keep anything about MS4 on there, we're just gonna give them. We're gonna give them a handout, and right now we're discussing what we want to have in that handout.
Okay,
But
because,
MS4 is not, will be a separate conversation.
alright, so we're not talking about that at all?
No, because right now we just kind of wanna talk about. What we wanna hand to people when we go on our hikes and when we have our events here at the township.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say,
And
is
we're not
I
gonna-
just don't think the MS four is great if we don't have a
No,
plan.
we're not gonna talk to them about that right now.
Okay.
But we can use the MS4 as a way to prepare something for the EAC is the idea. I think that's what you're going with. So,
Yeah, more or less.
okay, but just don't even look at that. Let's look at what's here. We can all come up with, you've been here when we were talking about what we want to hand out to people. We want to have something that as the, as the EAC, we can say, look, this is who we are, this is why we're here, this is what we're doing.
I understand, yeah, I'm doing the same thing with another organization, and just a point of, not to be pedantic, of
Yeah.
just of nomenclature, this is not a pamphlet, this is a trifold brochure.
Yes.
And that's simply a one sheet of paper to be able to hand out with, just bare bones information, but just enough to capture the essence of what our EAC is.
Correct. So
And I'd be
regarding,
happy to.
regarding our trifold brochure,
Yes.
what are we gonna put in there? And I mean, I think that what Alex has here is, a good start, but I think the idea for the AC, and we've done this before. I mean, we've written out who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we care about the most, right?
Yeah, and I feel like what you might wanna think about doing is sort of like, what distinguishes Eastern Monroe from the rest of the county and state? Like, what do you guys have here in Smithfield Township that?
What are we fighting for?
Yeah, like, what makes you special? Like,
Yeah.
you have Marshall's Creek, which has, sensitive species in it, it's special protection all the way down to the Delaware. That's one of your.
Yeah.
Special features here that exists nowhere else really. I mean, there is Marshall's Creek that goes in Middle Smithfield, but Smithfield, that's one of your main resources. So you might want to just think about what makes Smithfield Township truly unique compared to the entire rest of the state. That way, if somebody just happens to come along the hikes and they see Smithfield Township, like maybe you might want to put something in there.
Absolutely.
Catch their attention right off the bat.
You raise awareness for, there's the whole plan, right? And I forget what all the steps are, but who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it. And that's all written in there, so people can understand. It's, bullet points that they don't have to read too much. And then if they want to read too much, they can go further into the packet. But that's that's a whole couple hours of a whole bunch of people sitting around talking about it, so.
Yeah, it is. So. Yeah.
When and who, I think it's great, we've wanted to do this for a long time, so when are we gonna do it? Who's doing it?
I would love to be involved in that.
I volunteer for that subcommittee, I'm assuming we're looking at a subcommittee here.
It might just be a one-time workshop.
It'll be an ad hoc thing.
Yeah, and I think that that's fair, we can try to limit it to two or,
Yeah, wouldn't get too many people involved because we'll just take more and more time with it.
I don't want that either. But, okay, so how about we do it this way? We have. Our event is on the 28th of March. What's our next meeting? The date? Is
It's the first Monday of March.
and what do we have something else to? Do we have something else in between now and then?
So it'll be March 4th. No, between now and then, it's 2 weeks from now.
Okay. All right, so March 4th, so if we wanted to, we could try to meet the Tuesday before, and just.
Sorry, it's the Monday rather.
Oh, yeah,
Instead of
right.
the first Wednesday, it's March 2nd rather.
March 2nd.
March
That's
2nd.
what I.
You could maybe meet that Monday before your meeting. That's typically how you've done it in the past, like the
Yeah.
afternoon, like
Yeah.
I forget, like 3 o'clock, 3:30.
No, that's
you guys
perfect.
meet
I mean,
there.
I'm okay with that because it just keeps it all on the same day and then, keep on task. Are you all right with that, Ken?
Which date is it again?
It is the Monday, the first or the second of March.
Now, is this a full EAC meeting?
Our meeting is on that day, that night, 7 o'clock, but we were gonna meet earlier before the
Oh.
meeting and have it, yeah.
Okay,
So
I got you then.
I think that does make it easier for everybody involved. And what is the ruling on how many people can be there?
3.
Great, so.
You know,
okay.
if you 3 wanna go, I'm happy to take notes and sort of help.
It'll just be us then, yeah,
Okay.
because we're all here, we're local, I know, Todd and Mike and everybody else can't make it during the day, so it'll just be us.
Yeah,
That's perfect, so we'll put that in the. You good with that, Mike? Hello?
Yeah, I like the idea of getting people together. The handout in general, I think it should be, more or less like the absolute basics, right? It's the first type of literature they get from the council. Then we've kind of already discussed it, but it basically sums it up as who we are and what we do, which would be our member names and the 5 bullet point council priorities that we've had at other meetings. So who we are and what we do, event dates, which would include like meetings as well as actual events, and then some pictures and graphics to fill in. And really, again, the goal of just building engagement. And there can be more of these, but version 1, which is what we're trying to assemble, should be the most basic form of, and then again, eventually progressing to what Alex described as what sets us apart, what makes us different, why are we unique? That all could kind of flow from there, I guess. But that's my 2 cents for the trifold. Super basic to start. Who we are and what we do, dates, and some photos and graphics.
And then what we pull together, we'll obviously bring to the meeting later on, everybody can have their 2 cents then, but if you have anything before then, just send it along, we can discuss it in the meeting.
Alright, just to be clear, we're not doing this though, right? Okay.
yeah, we might end up having, it's a good point.
Well, yeah.
We keep them separate, otherwise it's, potentially gonna muddy the water, but it's a good topic to talk about as a council. I definitely recommend a future agenda item, but I would say, if you guys wanna talk about MS4, we're gonna need a volunteer to sort of. Do the work to sort of present their ideas, what they like to talk about, it's not, it does, that topic is kind of in depth, sure, no.
Yeah, the problem is that the most of it, I think, does go through the supervisors, because the way I read it is it comes back to the township, which in turn goes back to the supervisors, and we don't have a game plan that I can see for a lot of this stuff that you put on here. There are situations that do get reported and ignored regularly. We're not cleaning it up. If the township's not willing to put their money where their mouth is, so to say, I don't think that we should put it on a handout to pass out to people, if that makes sense. And that's just my 2 cents on it, and that's just the way it reads to me. It looks bad for everybody. And we can't answer all the questions because, again, we're gonna have to point fingers here, point fingers there. And it seems to go in a full circle of who's actually doing the stuff that's on this list. It's just about, I don't think it's great to hand out to everybody. We already have complaints that don't get followed through.
Well, we're definitely not gonna do that, we're just handing out brochures, but the MS4, if we wanna discuss it and make it an agenda item, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, if someone's willing to, sort of act as the main lead on it, so that it's not just Alex presenting it. I mean, because think about it.
I wouldn't mind helping,
Yes, you wanna.
like, cause I've read a lot and.
Yeah.
I think we have a fairly decent communication most of the time.
Yeah, I wanna try to encourage the council members instead of me introducing more of these topics.
Yeah, I would love to help out,
So.
I've read a lot up on it.
Okay.
I've already gotten some stuff, so if you do wanna put it on the agenda. Me and you could converse and I could sort of help present it.
I think what Alex means is that it's probably, we could make it a council item.
Yeah.
And then discuss it as a.
Oh, I thought he meant
No,
somebody.
we'll discuss it as a council, if you wanna present what you find to the council, and then the council can decide. How
What we
we,
say.
how, you know, how we approach the entire topic as a group. which-
I apologize, I didn't
No,
know
no,
oversight.
no, but that's. And also noted, if you, this is, Alex pointing out potential, items for the group that might be, you know, important for us to look into.
Yeah.
But also, as a group, we should be, able to, you know, bring up our own topics as well. So. We can kick that down the road to the next, meeting. And then if you'd like, Katie, so that everybody will be here, we assume, so. Just prepare, a little bit for us, to talk about why, as a council, we should be discussing the MS4 program.
Definitely,
And what you've learned about it over the past couple of weeks.
yeah,
That would work.
it's just been the weekend, but
Yeah,
I'm a big
okay.
reader.
Couple more days and
Yeah.
myself again, so.
It's been a long weekend, but
No, that's
I'm a
good.
big reader,
We'll-
that's
we'll,
what I do at night.
No, and I look forward to that, because all I did was type it into, you know, ChatGPT type of thing and take a look at it, but.
Oh, yeah, clicked on every yard.
It's really, I mean, it's interesting stuff for me, because even today, I drove along the Broadhead all the way up to Canadensis, and like, you know, all the sewer, their pipes are there, and they're the salt water, that's where it's going, and the oil, and then, like, you know
Yeah,
where
it's
it's
all
going.
going, yeah,
And what we as a township do to preserve or to minimize the amount of trash and oil and chemicals and stuff that's going into our streams.
yeah, and maybe
So,
we could discuss some kind of system where like people get fined or,
well,
you know, if we can.
how many times have you seen it and say, how do we allow that to happen? How can we be allowing that to happen?
All the time.
Or maybe, right, so
Yeah.
maybe now we can have better insight. into
That's what
how it.
That's my problem with this, that we don't have the game plan
Right,
to back it.
right, well, look forward to talking about that next week for sure, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a question of. Just, you know, it would be good. Yeah, like you said, I think Eric, you articulated what I wanted to say is like, I'm, you know, just try to remember that I'm here to, you know, take notes and try to help guide you along, but I wanna make it clear that I'm, you know, I'll do the best I can to help you all with these agenda items, but you know, it's gonna require some time on your part. You have to pick what you wanna do with your time because, you know, there's only so much you can do. Do you wanna prioritize this pamphlet, which I think is a good, really helpful, beneficial use for the AC? MS4 is quite an undertaking and you know, there's even engineers that are still trying to understand fully how to, you know, comply with the terms and the constant adjustments. So it's just a
I saw
question
that
of
there's
things
like
that you guys want to prioritize.
week or 2 week long courses on MS4 that are required for anybody involved in it on the township level or something, so.
That's why, until we have like a game plan as a township. It's gonna be hard to,
Well, we'll do some research first, and then we'll find out what we're dealing with, and then see, you know, what. We'll do it as an exploration of the MS4, and then, right, but, you know, again, I think we did a good job of trying to. Schedule some events, the educational events for the community outreach portion, that's good. We have now some work that we're doing to protect our own streams and, you know, working with the sewage treatment plant, so that's some. Actual environmental protection work that we're, you know, focused on right now. This would be another portion of that, you know, kind of arm of the council.
Agreed.
But maybe that's a better way of explaining what we need to be looking at, you know, okay, we have our community outreach, we have our, you know, active work in the community to better the water quality, to make the place greener, more beautiful for future generations. I mean, we can go down our list of our, you know, as a group, our core values and say, well, what are we doing for these things? And do we have a subcommittee for each one type of a thing? And that they're always working on a project. Otherwise, you know, you will have to look for some things to throw onto the agenda. And maybe that's not the right way to do it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair question, and my concern is if you put MS4 on your next agenda, you're also gonna have this on your agenda, and if Katie's gonna be lead on MS4, but Katie's also on this subcommittee for a handout, you might wanna kick the can down to like a month from now, as opposed, that way you at least you prioritize your time. That would be my only thoughts as we're, I'm listening to you guys brainstorm this all.
No, I agree. I think that the handout is important because we do have an event coming up.
Yeah,
Okay. I think the MS4 will be important as we all need to understand it a little bit better. I mean, I've done a lot of reading on it. I don't know that it's a right now topic until the township comes up with some kind of like, we've all kind of settled into it and there's some kind of questions, answer period that we can contribute to.
We're gonna have to come up with those questions.
Yeah, that, what I'm saying is that, like, I think it's gonna provoke a lot, cause it provokes to me a lot of questions.
Sure.
And the township doesn't have anything to answer with it. So, I think that might maybe be kicked down the road a little bit,
That's fine.
then.
So we'll focus on getting this done on Monday before the meeting. We'll bring it to the meeting. We'll all agree. We'll get that out to
Yeah.
print.
yeah.
And then the following meeting, you can present just, Katie, what you've learned over the past couple weeks on.
And that kind of stuff. Okay.
And I think that will keep us active.
Can I comment quickly on that as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, great topic to bring up. The MS4 in general. So before I even get into the specifics of the MS4, I just wanted to say I think this is a good exercise for everybody. This is the first step into the waters of just how much work it takes to simply be informed on local government issues, let alone make meaningful changes and progress, right? So this is why from the get-go, we're all trying to encourage people to have community involvement, to attend the meetings, to do their own research, to bring their knowledge together so we can grow as a group. But yeah, I agreed with everything everyone's saying here, that ultimately Alex has provided a ton of resources for us, at least in my, initial 3 to 4 months. There's a ton of literature to digest on just the topics we've broached in the first couple of months, let alone, all of environmental science at the municipal government level. But the MS4 stuff, again, obviously, it takes a group of people to work together to first understand it, and then second of all, to apply that knowledge in the community. So I think it should be an agenda item in the sense of, again, we're kind of learning and growing as a group. It's going to take all of us, to Katie to do some research, Alex to provide some resources, all the rest of us to do some research as well, and combine our knowledge. But definitely a worthwhile subject. It's obviously something the supervisors kind of initiated when, or joined, made an important item when they made this group and joined us together in the first place. So worth talking about, but one step at a time, right? We've got a lot of items on the agenda. There's only one Alex to go around. So, yeah. I think it's worth talking about, though, because we're all, not everybody even on the council, let alone people in the community, and no fault to anyone, but not everybody even has equal knowledge of what MS4 even is yet. So as a community, we just need to define that, educate ourselves on it, and then go from there. Thank you.
thanks, Mike. All right, any other comments regarding brochure? New business B, information, upcoming presentation by Monroe County Vector Control in March.
Is
Don't
it
have
a
anything
tip,
on
guys, on the ESU, by the ESU?
Pretty much.
Okay.
They're with the county, they work with the planning commission, and they do ticks and mosquitoes, and every year they provide, or at least offer townships a presentation, and so, I work with, his name is Aaron, and I worked with him a couple years ago for the supervisors. This year he'd like to do a presentation for you, so it's gonna be on your agenda for March 17th. Another Alex thing, but if you guys as council members can find, seminars like this from, typically government agencies or non-government agencies you feel are relevant, I encourage you to just reach out to me, give me a call or something, set it up and I'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah,
As I see these, Eric, I mean, I just try to, the more information, again, like Mike just said, you're gonna learn about what it is, like per your question, educate yourselves on what's going on, and then you can ask him questions. So it's a good opportunity.
Sure, and the vector, like she was saying, is that's that office that's in the
Yeah, it's like right down the hill from.
the innovation center. It's
Yeah,
in the innovation center.
Okay.
Yeah, I know those people pretty well, so.
me too.
Okay.
I think that's great because we
And-
do have tick problems.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's, I think, it's gonna be primarily on mosquitoes from my experience.
That's
But if
right.
you wanna talk to him about ticks, he'll do a Q&A.
Yeah,
It's like I said, it's just an opportunity for you to learn more about things. One of the great things about having an EAC is that you will find organizations that are willing to come here and give presentations to you for various reasons, whether it's part of their job or it's somebody, an employee there that wants to build their, their repertoire. There's a lot of opportunities as a government agency to invite people to talk to you about things and provide opportunities you might not have otherwise had. A good example is that the wastewater tour they had last year. Did you go to that, Eric?
no, I didn't go to wastewater.
I did reach out to, on that same subject, I did reach out to Dave Fortin to try to set something up for the new members, to tour a wastewater treatment facility. He did the MRF.
Yeah, what was
Materials recycling facility. So that's the intent.
Was that the Valhalla over?
They did it at their, Berkeley Creek Regional Authority.
No,
That's,
I thought we were supposed to reschedule the Lake Valhalla one.
yeah, that never worked out. The sewer authority, denied our request for their wastewater facility. But we did get a tour of the one over in East Strasburg. It's always an opportunity to go to the sewer authority meetings and ask them to see if you can maybe get that tour. But I remember when we approached them back in 2024, they bristled and,
Okay,
didn't really appreciate it for reasons that remain murky to this day.
no problem.
No pun intended on that.
Wanted to say before when we were talking about MS4, you said, I don't want to muddy the waters on it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, but regarding the vector thing for March. Also, Lewis Wolf, who helps me at the farm, he's the biologist with the SU. He said that he could set up any number of different things, so we should just loop him in. I'll give him your email and then I'll let him, kind of talk to the group and see what type of events that we can do with the SEO as well, because they're here. They always want to work with people that care about what they're doing with bugs and bats and rattlesnakes. That's it. So comments from the council?
Who goes,
Think we're good?
I have something to say if I may.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Some of you may know, or maybe everyone knows that, just a few days ago, President Trump, declared the Clean Air Act basically, defunct. And that was the act of Congress that established the EPA. And as a result of that, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania established its own EPA. And as a result of that, that mandated that local municipalities can create their own environmental advisory councils. So we are the direct result of that legislation that was passed over 50 years ago by a Republican administration led by Richard Nixon. So I'm wondering, given that fact, would it behoove us to respond in some way to that? I'm just was kind of disturbed by this, and I'm thinking that perhaps our municipality could encourage publicly state government led by Governor Shapiro to uphold our state constitution, no matter what the federal government has planned for the Environmental Protection Agency as a whole. Currently, the administration is not supporting.
It's a hoax, right?
Well, no, President Trump has been declaring for years that climate change is a hoax. And now he has taken a direct step to support that false notion. So I'm wondering, I'm just saying that should the EAC take the lead with with our township in communicating this thought to the state government?
I mean, we can easily create a press release of some kind, right? That we, as you know,
Well, remember, we just advised the supervisors, we had no power
I'm
ourselves.
saying we could create one and, you know, ask if it can be published as a part of our newsletter or, you know, something about our stance on, you know, the Clean Air Act. I think that I think it would be a great way to make a difference at the community level, which is why we're here, and whether or not something happens with it, it's besides the point.
Well, I mean, there could be future ramifications for this. I mean, we've been talking about water, but air is just as important as water. And I'm not sure what, we do have a paper plant that still operates in Smithfield, and I don't know whether they comply with EPA standards with their production, but, it's something to keep in mind. And what if something happens wherein, a corporation builds a data center here? That not only affects the water, it has an impact on the air and noise and everything about the environment. So, I mean, we have to keep these things in mind.
Yeah, like I said, I think as an EAC, it would be a great opportunity to put our heads together and, you know, write a response to the cancellation of the Clean Air Act. I think it would be a great opportunity for us as well to highlight some of the ways that the state of Pennsylvania can protect us when the federal government doesn't. So I don't see a downside to this, other than it might not go further than us presenting it to the council. And
In the supervisors.
or to the supervisors, yeah, but and I think that that's fair enough, so.
Agreed.
There's, again, as far as, you know, publishing and putting it in the newsletter, or, you know, that's up to other people, but, if it's there, that's the first step, so. If, you know, I don't know if you're interested in putting together a letter that we could.
Well, I could draft a letter. I've actually already have it to some extent, but I could expand on that and shoot it off to you and Alex or
Yeah.
to the
Well,
council.
I think that's a great idea,
I like that idea too.
and then, we can,
That'll be my weekend project. How's that?
that sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And I don't think that that's, I don't think there's too much on our next meeting just to discuss what Ken comes up with, so.
Just
approving that.
this, Ken's thing,
Yeah. So let's do that.
anything else you guys send me?
That's good. I only had one comment, and that was regarding, I had a couple people reach out to me over the last week regarding the proposed plans for the data center at Mosher's Mill or Mosher's Dairy. I'm bringing it up now because it was brought to my attention. I was not at the meeting, at the supervisory meeting.
That
But,
was a planning meeting.
that was the planning meeting,
Planning
okay.
meeting, yeah.
But, if anybody has, you know, any information that they'd like to share about that, but I was asked privately, people have been reaching out to me on Facebook and whatnot.
Maybe Alex knows more than I do, but from what I understand, a vague idea was submitted to the planning commission. And it didn't comply as a formal application. It didn't meet those standards. It was submitted by a Philadelphia area company, and it was just exploring the idea of acquiring land and possibly doing that with it. But
I saw the drawings. and
Yeah, but the drawings didn't include the necessary details, and so as far as I know, it's not going anywhere right now. Is that correct, Alex?
It's been about 3 meetings that he's done this, proposed a lot of time and ideas. Again, they are saying, the supervisors are saying, personally, I've heard from the supervisors, it's not happening. But it does look to the public very much like it is happening. It is something I think we should all pay attention to. Just because it is getting very detailed, they're doing sound studies already, I mean, stuff like that, so it is something I think that everybody should keep an eye out on. Maybe, you know, if anybody wants to participate in these, it's usually the planning meetings that he does it.
Mhm.
But it has been getting more and more.
Last meeting.
Yeah, it's,
Two meetings that they came and discussed it.
yeah, but this
past
last
meeting,
one, he did another one, yeah.
I wasn't there this time.
And it is like, you know, it's frustrating because they do give him the time to present these ideas, which makes it look even more valid.
Mhm.
He's got, you know, people dialing in, it's,
Yeah, he was supposed to propose the sketch plans for the side, that kind of has some really
yeah,
two buildings and everything, so it's just.
it just.
I saw the
it's-
drawing, I mean, they were up on the site.
250,000 square foot building.
Yeah, it's pretty massive, but, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because people, you know, members of the community had asked me about it. And, I said that as always, we would try to, you know, understand more what's going on and as an environmental council, there's not much we can do if plans go through for a data center, but, we can prepare ourselves for when they do. Yeah.
Well, it may take years.
Right.
If it goes anywhere at all.
At some point, Eric, there's gonna be a conditional use hearing because it's in the EV zone.
Hmm.
At that point, the council members, or
Can.
council in general, can maybe attend the hearing and make your own comments as individual members, or you can also ask the supervisors if you can put in your own letter of recommendation.
Yeah, and since it's coming up, and I think just kind of like, you know, Ken's letter, says it might be a good opportunity to, as a council, better prepare ourselves for the likely scenario where, you know, a data center comes up, maybe not in our township, but in the township next to us, and we'll just prepare ourselves to be better versed on, you know, really what they are and what they're doing and why they're so terrible. So, cause you know, we're talking about it now, we'll probably be talking about it next year, the next 20 years, so.
People are talking about data centers all over the state.
Sure.
They are popping up though.
Right.
So it's not like a conspiracy theory.
Oh,
It's not like there's-
it's happening, but as an environmental advisory council, perhaps it would be good for us to have a data sheet that talks a little bit more about it, so as the council, we, you know, have, you know, we're all on the same page, you know, what they are, why they're bad, and, how likely we are to see one maybe.
Yeah, anyone is welcome to put such a sheet together and. you know,
That's okay.
you know,
That's okay. Yeah, we'll just-
and it's up to you when you wanna do it, just let me know, you know, if someone wants to volunteer.
We can add it to the agenda down the road, and it'll be something that we can work on as a group, and I think it would be good for the EAC to have a, you know, kind of EAC fact sheet for data centers, because like I said, that it's not going away.
It's one of those things as an EAC where, I mean, I helped the supervisors write the ordinance, and it was based on ordinances down in Virginia where at the time, back in 2025, early 2025, when the township started, and this was actually Brett who brought it up during your council, as you probably remember.
I remember the whole thing, yeah.
There were very few data centers proposed in Pennsylvania. Back then, it was more of a, well, this is a good idea, they might come, and then sure enough, as the supervisors were passing this ordinance and adopting, it, as the group was working on it for a year, they just started exponentially increasing in numbers, and it's just interesting how, and I think it was said at the last planning commission meeting, I watched the video where Dave Strunk was just like, you know, the township did a great job at anticipating this, and sure enough, here comes the data center, and they had passed it just in time, so I feel like, you know, if one is submitted, now you're gonna have a hearing. That's one of the big changes that the supervisors adopted, is there was no hearing before.
Right.
It would have just gone straight into land development. As Chris knows, once it goes on land development, it's just a battle between the engineers and comments and waivers and here and there.
Sure.
If you have a hearing, that allows any entity to basically testify at the hearing and weigh in.
Mhm.
Can the supervisors deny a conditional use hearing? Probably not, almost certainly not, but they can add conditions that can help protect the community. So there's a lot of opportunity now for the community to better protect itself, and if there is a hearing, you'll all know about it because it'll be on the planning commission. It'll hit the planning commission first. planning commission is often described as the first line of defense, so that's why it's good to have a planning commission member on the EAC. So that, you know, when these things hit the planning commission, if it's a conditional use hearing, the planning commission can make recommendations to the supervisors on conditions, and then the supervisors can add their own conditions, the EAC can add conditions. So the more groups you have making recommendations on conditions, not denying it, because you can't deny conditional use. Only under very specific circumstances can you actually say no to a conditional use, but you can add conditions to it. So procedurally, I just wanted to point that out, Harry.
I think that I vividly remember us talking about the amount of water and water cooled versus, air cooled, et cetera, et cetera. Interesting that it came up so quickly. I mean, that's great that it worked out that way. But again, when we were talking about it that day, everybody kind of had their own opinions on why we don't like them, what we can do about it. That's great. But for the EIC, we should probably have our own kind of, the list that we are well versed in, we understand what we're dealing with. How many there are, how much water they really use, all that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and
Within the next, month or two, we'll just get that on one of the, schedules and get it done.
it's good.
And we can pull stuff, I mean, it's not difficult to pull stuff, information, but I'm sure a bunch of other organizations have put together really great material. Just something to add to the folder.
The only other thing you might want to mention is the annual report is due. So last year, a member of the council volunteered to go through all the minutes from the previous year and put together sort of a concise summary of what you'd accomplished, and then you have to present it to the supervisors.
Did Pat do that?
Yeah, Pat and I worked on it.
Okay.
It's, so I don't know if you and me want to get together.
I'd like to
kind
do
of
it.
put something
I was
together.
gonna suggest that we, just a minute ago, I was gonna suggest that we go back through when we were talking about topics to bring back up.
Yeah,
Because after a year, you kind of forget what maybe, fell by the wayside. Like as far as the, rain gardens and all of the same book stuff, so. I think that would be a good idea.
well, all I ask is if you could, maybe before, I would set a deadline like March 17th. Seems like a reasonable deadline if you. Or your Mitch, if you and Mitch want to maybe jointly work together on this.
Yeah, I think that.
And then, it's literally just an exercise of going through all the minutes for 2025 and just kind of putting together a one pager that you simply present to the board and then they upload to the website.
No, I think it was great. I mean, last year having that and saying, oh, we did do that.
Yeah.
After a year, you forget what really happened, so.
Yeah, it's easy for me to remember what you guys do because I'm the recording secretary. So I go through all the videos and I take all the notes out. But for council members, you don't do that exercise. So it's good to do these annual reports, just like you said.
Good exercise, let's do it.
Okay.
And, you said March 17th?
Yeah, what I would ask is if you and Mitch could send me your own,
Sure.
like one pagers of what you thought you
Yeah.
did best in 2025, what you thought the highlights would be based on the minutes.
Yeah.
And then what I can do is take both of your notes and try to like combine them into one and then present it to the council and you can whittle it down and then.
Sure.
I'd recommend a target date of like mid-June to present it to the supervisors and then you
Okay.
pick somebody to go ahead and present it and that's pretty much it.
Sure.
It's a little boring. I know it's not as exciting as, the pamphlet or the data centers or a hike, but it is a good exercise and sort of,
Nope, worth doing.
memorializing the work you did.
All right, well, that's noted, March 17th. And we'll get that out to Mitch. And public comment, I think, if anybody has a comment, we have a new member. Okay.
Memorize myself with what's going on here.
Yeah,
So,
all the way. All right, so. Thanks, everybody, and public comment from anyone?
May I say something on Zoom here?
Brendan?
Yes, that's me. Thank you guys for having me this evening. I'm one of many residents concerned about this environmental impact of the proposed data center in East Stroudsburg. I appreciate you guys bringing it up. And I just wanted to voice my support of this council drawing up an official position on the environmental impact of such a project in our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah, can I throw my 2 cents in here at the end as well?
Yeah, Mike.
Council member comment, public comment, however you want to regard it. Yeah, Eric, thank you for bringing up the just the conversation of the data center. It's obviously something that's been time has been devoted to it at meetings. They had lawyers present, engineers present. It's obviously something that discussions are being had. So I think as a council, as a community, we need to kind of prepare for both outcomes, essentially yes on a data center and no on a data center, and act accordingly. Again, we all know we're an advisory council, so as I believe it was Brendan just commented and said, maybe if we could, and I don't know about an official position. It's obviously something that's a highly polarizing topic. The pros and the cons are worth debating, though, publicly. So just in general, I think it's obviously something that is going to be, a hot topic of 2026. Governor Shapiro's put stuff about it out about it. Our local representatives, Rosemary Brown, has put things out about it, about data centers in Pennsylvania at large. So it's obviously just going to be a topic of conversation. We should more or less mentally prepare for that. Couple other things here. Let me just scroll through my notes. Ken, I think what you commented about the Clean Air Act and the EPA in general, and the federal level is the federal level. We're obviously a township, but in general, obviously, we're all Americans. We have a shared destiny. So I think we should, that there is merit to bringing up things that are happening at the federal level. Again, we all know we're advisory in nature. We're at the township level, but I think Robert had emphasized a couple times for us that we wanted to see action, and so I think we're doing that. We have the letter that we sent with the wastewater treatment plant, and then we have the potential to even comment on things like the Clean Air Act or whatever. Obviously, we can talk about how we want to do that. What type of communication we want to put out as a council. If it's in our newsletters, if it's at our meetings, if it's on our social media, however we want to do that. But I do think it's worthwhile to be addressing that. And then, ultimately, Alex brings up a great point about how, this conditional use zoning, we're all learning here. I'm learning things about zoning every day. But I believe it was Dave Strunk or someone made a comment on the planning commission in regards to the data centers. The line we've heard over and over is that the data centers are not coming. The data centers are far and far away. But then we've also acknowledged just the speed and the rate of change in construction and in AI and tech advancements in general. So it's got to be something we kind of prioritize. But Dave Strunk said something along the lines of, we can't do anything to stop it. And again, that goes into the land development and the conditional use and the zoning, and it's a subject for the community to continue to educate themselves about, because there are the Archibald data center where I'm up at every day up here driving around in Wayne County, Lackawanna County, Luzerne County, Monroe County as well. But there's a lot of information out there in the community about people not wanting it, but ultimately some of these constructions are going through regardless. But that's the law, and that's kind of how it works. So again, it's whether we have a sway in it or not, we can still do our job to educate people. So kudos to Eric for bringing it up. It's definitely worth our time. And yeah, I'll also just run through all the meeting minutes for the year in review, I believe it was called, or something like that. I just want to be a part of that as well. So that's all.
Well, thanks. Yeah, appreciate that, Mike. We'll get that stuff together over the next 2 weeks.
One more thing from there. Alex, so the township can't deny like a conditional use if you were to apply for it. Like, if someone like the developer were to apply for conditional use, there's no really, you can't deny it, you can only add stipulations.
Well, the board can vote I mean, generally speaking, I don't want to speak for the township, but I would say that the township can say no to a conditional use, but that can be challenged in court and then reversed and remanded back to the township It's very unusual that a township can actually successfully deny conditional use. It does happen, but very rarely. The other 99% of the time, all you can do is add reasonable conditions, and it's based on the conditional use criteria and other criteria in your ordinances, so.
Alright, well, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, it's
I'm the 1%.
It's a complicated land use question, but it is, and it's kind of nuanced in like the case law and everything like that, but that's my understanding of it. It's a good question.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
I think we have another comment, sorry,
I have
sorry,
something,
Ken.
Ken.
Yeah,
Just want to let you guys know that the EAC might want to read a memo that was dropped by Senator Katie Mudd for the Senate District 44 regarding about data center developments. In her memo, she states that even though the state's agency-based baseline studies or impact studies state law does not require baseline analysis, but she emphasizes that the local municipality can have these baselines and that the local ordinance should be strong enough. And she has listed everything to her members that she dropped the memo to, so that's something that you might wanna look into. It's on February 12th of 2026 at 6:07 PM. She sent to all the state Senate members.
okay. Will you email that? to-
Sure, you
please?
send me your
Thank you.
email.
Yeah,
to you.
yeah. Great,
My motion is there.
second,